What's going on, people of the internet? Hyperchaotic here of Be Quiet Cutscene, the channel dedicated to no commentary playthroughs for video game preservation. Unlike your average no commentary channel that's typically worried about getting the latest video of the latest game out first, as well as providing us all with decent collectible guides for the games we want to complete. So, no disrespect. Shout out to those no commentary channels. I use them all the time. But I'm here to prioritize video game preservation. And because of that, I'm more likely to worry about older games rather than the newer ones. Now, if I just happen to play a newer game at the time, you best believe I'm going to complete it till the end for the sake of video game preservation. But since I prioritize video game preservation first and foremost, I'm trying to go for all the old, and in some cases, obscure games first. And God forbid if a game is ever delisted, such as Bad Company 1 and 2 in the past, they will be immediately pushed to priority number 1. Because when a game is no longer accessible, video game footage might be all you have to know what it was even like. And in the case of online multiplayer matches, well, servers don't last forever, and there might come a day where the fan base dissipates. Now, hopefully, in some cases like Call of Duty Black Ops or even, Battlefield 2042, it'll at least have a bot system where you can simulate what a match would be like offline. But not every multiplayer game out there has one, so it's always best to get the footage while you can. And no commentary, so we can let the game speak for itself. Every aspect of it, from its visuals to its sound effects and design. Now, in some cases, for maybe certain collectibles that may be notes or descriptions that have a bit of lore or explainers for video games, I may read them out loud. Though that's not very often, because the last time I've had to do that was when I played Halo Infinite. And boy, were there a lot of descriptions to go over. Speaking of getting video game preservation footage, today's video, I decided to go over what my experience is like trying to get video game footage on my Steam Deck. It is one of the best experiences I have had when it comes to getting video game footage. However, it still has its issues here and there. And over time, I will eventually make a series of videos going over my experience trying to get video game footage on several devices, operating systems, and programs. I have experimented a lot over the years when it has come to try to get my footage. Just let it be known, the only thing I won't ever go over is anything related to Apple, because I have yet to really use any of their devices or the operating system for any reasons to get video game footage. Perhaps in the future, one day when I get a new computer, I might experiment trying to record on the operating system. Just not going to worry about the hardware, unless maybe it's an iPhone, and even then I'm going to borrow from somebody. Nonetheless, it's unlikely to be, brought into this commentary series anytime soon, because I just have yet to experience and experiment with that when it comes to recording footage. But of course, for today, it'll just be recording footage on the Steam Deck. Now, really quickly, let's go over some features with the recording feature on the Steam Deck, which, it's a built-in feature into the Steam Deck. Now, for starters, you have options for, manual recording in the background, automatically turning it off. Your default hotkey will be the Steam button and the A button, but you can change it to whatever the hell you want it to be. There's also this special feature where you have your background recordings kind of separate from your regular manual recordings. Though for some reason it's a bit bugged out for me where I cannot export them or delete them from the clips menu where I can acquire them and turn them into or convert them into an MP4 file so I can upload and edit them. I can delete them from the settings menu, but I can't export them. It is a bit of an inconvenience. Nonetheless, it's easily fixable as far as getting rid of it. I still haven't figured out how to salvage them, though, as far as exportation, because I do at least want to salvage one of them. Though, for some reason, it's a bit buggy with me when it comes to this background feature. You also have the option to record no audio, include your gameplay audio, and even microphone audio onto your gameplay. Now, I personally keep this setting off because obviously this is a no commentary channel. On my main channel, Hyperchaotic, which I will link in the description down below with my link tree, because I'm on other platforms too. Nonetheless, on that channel, I do gameplay with reaction commentary over it. But I digress. For the no commentary channel, since I do use a lot of the footage that goes over there on here, I need to keep that audio separate. So I do not record with the microphone feature. But from what I've seen online, it works great. I guess there is a microphone built into the Steam Deck. And I think you can work with other microphones as far as plugging in or Bluetooth. I'm just not sure if you need like a special software. Like if it isn't something third party that's universal. For example, I got Turtle Beaches. Instantly work on any Xbox. You need a dongle for PlayStation 5, which is kind of dumb. But I digress. Though I'm not sure if the situation would be the same if I tried them for my Steam Deck. I have yet to really try it out. If anybody has tried Turtle Beaches on Steam Deck, let me know. Do you gotta hook something up? Is it just a setting change? Will it immediately connect with Bluetooth? Or do you need some sort of special dongle? Let me know in the comment section down below. It also has options for the quality. If you have any further questions, it has an FAQ page directly within those settings. Now, for the most part, from what I've seen, it strictly records your gameplay. So if you also want to record your UI in the main menu or your desktop mode, you have to use something third party, which is very simple to install. There are options for the Steam Deck. Some of them are a bit buggy, so be wary, be careful, do your research, look up tutorials. But for the most part, it is simple to install something third party if you want to record anything outside of the gameplay. But let it be known, the recording feature is strictly for the gameplay. Now, for the most part, recording on the Steam Deck is great. It works just fine until there is an update available. And this is a weird thing I've been noticing with the Steam Deck. When the Steam Recorder isn't working properly, it's not because there was a bug. Well, there probably is a bug, right? But it wasn't because the bug beforehand started causing issues. Then they put an update to fix it. At least not for me. Because for some reason, it only stops functioning properly when an update is available. And the update is not even installed yet. Though, the second I do install it, it works perfectly fine. So because of that, I always make sure to double check if there's an update available before I start recording, so there are no issues. Nonetheless, it is quite odd that it only bugs out when an update is available. Not before the update is made to fix the bug when the update is available. But it goes completely back to normal once it is fixed. I hope that's not going to be anything suspicious later on down the line, but could just be a weird thing specifically for me. Who's to say other people don't have the issue opposite, where it's the bug first, then the update comes out. But for me, I only get the bug when the update is available, ready for download. But credit to Steam. They always fix the problem. At least compared to Microsoft, which till this day they still haven't fixed their fucking recording feature on Xbox, or the constant compatibility issues with OBS. Even when you got a PC that works just fine, but all of a sudden an update fucks everything up. But I digress. Those are for a completely separate video. We are strictly focused on the Steam Deck recorder. And as long as you make sure to update your system before you record, and I highly recommend you always double check for an update before you press record, it should work perfectly fine. And by the way, let it be known that when it bugs out, it will more often than not corrupt your footage, if it even manages to save that footage at all. But as long as you're updated, that is not an issue. But with that said, let's go ahead and go over the several ways it may corrupt your footage, because I have went through plenty of corrupted footage already, and I've only had it for probably half a year now. Now, do not look at this as a complete negative, because again, as long as you make sure to update. Now, even though I've dealt with plenty of corrupted footage over the months, that's primarily on me for not making sure to update. So let this be a notice. Make sure to update your system before you press record, because then your footage will be corrupted. With that said, let's go over some examples of how your footage may corrupt. Alright guys, so when it comes to your recorded footage being corrupted, now, one of the most obvious ways you might think of footage being corrupted is perhaps it doesn't even save the footage at all. It doesn't even render it properly, so it provides you no converted footage whatsoever. Though thankfully, from my experience on the Steam Deck, that has been very, very rare. I probably had this issue way more with the Xbox Record feature, and even sometimes my internal phone screen recorder, than the Steam Deck. But it has at least happened to me, I think, once or twice. Now, in the background, you'll see one of the most common ways I get footage corrupted. It'll technically record up to the entire play session, but I only really get like a few minutes of actually good visual footage, and then it just stops at a freeze frame. Sometimes it's in the beginning, sometimes it's in the end. Sometimes it still records the audio just fine, but it's stuck on that visual freeze frame. Sometimes it's so corrupted, it doesn't just freeze frame, there's no more audio whatsoever. It might still be playing, or it might stop playing on the player altogether. But either way, that's basically all the footage you get, even though it did technically record through the entire session. I've also had situations where the visuals were completely fine, but there was no audio whatsoever. Yeah, just no audio. Didn't record the audio, just the gameplay all the way through, but it's completely silent. And I've had situations where it's recorded the gameplay just fine, but the audio is there and desynced. The funny thing is, it's not desynced throughout the entire gameplay. It's good for like a quarter of it, desynced through another half, or not another half, another quarter. The third quarter, it's synced all up just fine again, and then the rest it's desynced. I've actually had to deal with this issue before, where I decided to, what's the term I'm looking for? Salvage the footage, because I could at least fix that with editing. Though I only really did this for my voiceover playthrough on the main channel. I completely forgot to even bother doing that with the original footage. I could have gone back to fix it anyways, but I decided, nah, fuck it. I'm going to keep it as is, so it could be a representation of my experience trying to record on the Steam Deck. I just got to leave a nice little note. Not on the original video, because I don't remember which one it was, but at least on the playlist that much of that was recorded on the Steam Deck. Some footage may have some issues. They were left in to represent the experience of playing and recording on the Steam Deck. Keep in mind, whatever issues may be in the footage itself does not necessarily mean that's what I experienced while playing the game. So if there's audio desync in the footage, that did not happen in the game. It's only the video footage because of some slight corruption. Now, once again, although I have had this issue happen to me a multitude of times, at the end of the day, it came down to me not remembering to update my system before I started playing and recording. As long as you make sure that is a habit when opening your Steam Deck, at least every few days I would say, then you will be fine. Or every time you have a recording session, because maybe it's not too often. Every time you decide to have a recording session, even if you're just getting some clips for the moment to enjoy for yourself, get in the habit of checking for updates before pressing record. So there's no corrupted footage and you don't lose your best moments. Like with Xbox. Yeah, I'm not going to keep dissing them for that shit. I literally lost my best moments because of that corrupted ass fucking... Oh my god, I wish it worked by PlayStation. We'll touch more on that in the future, I swear, but... I'm just glad that for the most part, Steam Deck's record feature works amazingly well, minus these flaws here and there. Now, really quickly, let's go back around to the first issue I mentioned, where maybe your screen recorder, or whatever you're using, right, doesn't render the video. It doesn't convert it into a video file. Though sometimes in a device, if you look in the file manager, you might find the video file somewhere deep within it, but it still says pending. Or basically it's still attempting to convert it into a video file to get all that footage together, that data. But again, because of some corruption, it can't really finish it. Depending on the device, and I would imagine this goes for the Steam Deck as well. Usually, more often than not, if you can find a video file and it's still pending, probably just restart it and that should fix the issue. Sometimes I've heard if you record another clip, end it, and after it renders that, it'll finish properly rendering that one. But usually, if it doesn't fix the pending issue, that's it. It's just so corrupted, it literally just cannot convert it. It's a waste. Delete it. Now again, this is very rare on Steam Deck, but it is likely to happen on Xbox, and I think sometimes on PC with OBS. But thankfully I've never had to deal with that too much with OBS in the past. But for sure, this can be a common issue with built-in screen recorders on Android devices. I think iPhone too, because I've heard similar issues on iPhone. I'm not 100%. If you have an iPhone and have ever dealt with this issue on that device, let me know. Now, this glitch or error doesn't really have a name for it, so I'm pretty much going to give it one. Let's call it the corrupted pending error or corrupted pending glitch, where a piece of footage, and this doesn't just apply to video footage, it can apply to a screenshot as well, an image, where when you take some footage, usually of the screen, the software on a device, and it fails to convert it into a video or image file, and it's still pending, that's because of some data corruption. And we can consider that a corrupted pending error. Now, this issue isn't so common that I would say anybody who ever uses a screen recorder ever is going to constantly deal with this issue. But for those who use their screen recorders regularly, it's common enough to where they're very familiar with this issue. At least I know I am. I have dealt with it way too fucking often. But that's mainly because I am very oftenly using my screen recorder. Otherwise, for your average person, it would be a bit more uncommon. Not rare, but a bit more uncommon, because for somebody, compared to somebody like me, they're not using their screen recorder as much. They may be screenshotting more. That might happen when they go to screenshot something, but if it fails, they'll just screenshot it again, no problem. And more often than not, they don't even notice what the error was or what happened. They just assume, I don't know, maybe I failed to click it properly. It might be the case, but really, it could actually be the corrupted pending error. But since it's such an easy issue to resolve by simply doing the task again when it comes to a screenshot, they're never going to really notice it that much. They're not going to feel the need to probably search for a solution to it unless it just won't save it at all, but they can see the image file in their file managers. And that's assuming the average person even uses their file manager on their phone that much. Or even in the Photos app built in onto their phone, they don't just see this obvious image file there that clearly states it's corrupted data, or it just can't view it. These are more likely circumstance. It's going to be more notable to the average person, but nonetheless, it's a bit more uncommon for the average person, but definitely not rare. But for somebody like me, who uses their screen recorder regularly, including screenshots as well, it's very common for me. Now, that's really some details I probably should have saved for when talking about recording on Android. But again, some of this can apply to the Steam Deck screen recorder, and probably in the future, the Steam Machine as well, or the GameCube. But thankfully, it is very, very rare. Not uncommon, it is rare to deal with that exact issue on the Steam Deck. It can still apply there, but it's rare compared to your average Android or maybe even iPhone device. But at the very least, since I've already coined the term here, now we know what to call it in a later video when I do talk about my experience more recording on Android.